Well, when I saw there was like a magic documentary, I'm like, okay.
You're like, oh yeah.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Because it seems to appeal definitely to a very, not necessarily different group of people, but like it speaks to, not necessarily the hardcore doc heads,
Yeah, and I mean, like I've been attending hot docs for years, right? And so we don't generally get a lot of or any magic.
Metaphorical or literal magic.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even going there. I was just you went there.
I know. I was just trying to up the ante.
Yeah, all right.
In some way.
More.
Well, it's
Live from the center of the earth, Girth.
Hi, Sammy.
How's it going?
Good.
Is this your first time in Toronto?
Yes.
How are you enjoying it?
I'm obsessed with Toronto now. When we were driving in, I thought it looked like a better version of New York somehow, like a more palatable, digestible version of New York.
Like they cleaned it all up or something?
Yeah,
it's a
and
clean city,
it's
actually,
attractive and not too many
LA.
people. Yeah, it is clean.
We do what we can here.
Thank you.
You're originally based in LA, I guess, or California, or where?
We are. We're both LA people.
Yeah.
We don't seem like it, though, do we? Hopefully. Say yes.
Yes. That was the right answer?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm still figuring that one out, but yeah, we're
Did you
fans
get a
of
different
LA.
vibe or?
No, I was just clarifying because like there is a difference. I mean, we're getting a little off topic here, but there is a difference between like the East Coast kind of New York City filmmakers and then the West Coast kind of.
Yeah, I don't know I see a difference for sure, but it's just a different. I used to hate LA so much, and now I am fully in love with it. And there's something really a specific intensity about the people in LA who are in creative industries. So I don't know. I dig it now. I feel like I'm with my folks. I never would have thought that.
Yeah, I always found LA like a giant like office building. It was never like a city. You just go there to like work, and everybody.
We call it a city of neighborhoods, lovingly. Not an office building, but you find your niches. I think that's ultimately what it is. And
like in all of life, you find your little groups and places.
Your gangs and posses.
Yeah, that's how I always say it.
Yeah, gangs and
as
posses.
of right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's also a really strong documentary community now, really developing in Los Angeles. That wasn't there before, felt like, and now there is. So I think that's really rewarding.
Well, and then are you guys part of that group and just kind of hanging out with other?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm part of the. I mean, I know I have my documentary filmmaking friends, but I don't know that it's not like my base. I mean, it's hard in documentary because you don't really make a living at it unless you're one of the top kind of 5 people. So it's this world that you decide to enter, and it's not like you're showing up to work every day with 20 other documentarians. We're all kind of hustling and doing our other work as well. So you know what I mean? It's like you make the community your own, I guess.
Yeah, there's an intersection point every like 3 months, right? Because everybody works on projects that like last from I think the shortest 3 years to 10 years, and then you kind of go for a beer after 3 months, and then and you try to help each other because even on this film, it's like everything is a labor of love. That means a lot of people, if you ask nicely and they love it, they help you out.
Yeah,
which is cool about documentaries.
Yeah.
Well, and that actually brings us to kind of segues nicely because you guys were talking about the struggle of being a documentary filmmaker and how it's not a profitable way, and that's one of the themes of your magic documentary.
Yes.
As we follow 4 magicians who are trying to make it or have somewhat made it, like the one who's on Johnny Carson. Like, give us a breakdown and like the elevator pitch of the. You're going to parties now, so.
Yeah, I don't really do an elevator pitch for it because I feel like it's respite from my world of elevator pitches in TV. So I talk about the greater themes of it, which you have nailed, which is basically that they're trying to make a living at something that feels almost impossible to make a living at. It is, for me, one of the most beautiful aspects of the human experience, not to be too grandiose about magic. And there are people who have devoted their lives to making that their business and their life, and seeing how hard that is and what that takes is the perfect kind of example of people choosing to do this thing that they love and seeing how much struggle is involved in doing it and breaking through.
And I think on the very basic level, for me, thematically, it's all about what are you willing to give up or sacrifice for your dreams. And I think that's ultimately everybody who's in the arts or in general loves something and is really digging into that. I think that's a question we all ask.
But that's with magic, and that's like with acting, where it's just like you really got to commit.
Yes.
to the bit, to the hustle, to the whatever, however you want to kind of frame it.
Yeah.
Right?
But I
Like-
think also, but that's a perfect example of acting, I think, is revered. People grow up wanting to be actors.
Yeah.
I think magic, in my mind, or maybe this is a personal fear, that I think people see magicians as whatever weird stereotype they have in their head from childhood, and it's not usually positive, and I find that extremely disconcerting, which is honestly probably the number one thing that motivated me, besides my love of the art form, is just the fact that people had such misconceptions about magicians from popular culture or experiences in life with awkward people or whatever it was. So I really wanted to bring a different view on that, which I think happened halfway.
No, it's but interesting. When we filmed, that's an inside joke within an inside joke. All the folks, John is keenly aware of that, right? They have this like ranking of artists, which is like actor and then musician and then writer. I forgot, there's
and
like
then
five
everything else.
more, and then there's magicians, and then there's the mime. That's the order.
Yeah.
And it's true. They face that every day. Yeah.
It's interesting because I was just talking with some other journalists and other people over the last week or whatever, and then we were just talking about we're getting ready for Hot Docs, and I'm seeing this documentary, whatever. And a couple of times I mentioned I'm just watching a magic doc, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool," and they're like, "That's really neat." And a couple other times I slipped up and I said I'm watching a documentary about magicians.
Nice.
And people just like, "Oh."
Oh. Well,
It's what you're talking about though, right?
I think it is, definitely. That's exactly it. And have you seen magic in life, like really good magic in person?
I just actually saw Darcy Oak 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks
cool.
ago. Yeah. So
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Well, because I think you're exactly, that's exactly it. It's that kind of dichotomy of, magic as this profoundly amazing thing that intrigues everyone. And
Wonder
but
and
nobody wants to.
spectacle.
Yeah. And then somehow the idea of a magician is antithetical to that. And I think that's a really bizarre phenomenon. But I guess that's why, the film has a lot of magic in it, which I think helps, the idea is obviously to draw people into how amazing it is and getting to kind of look behind the curtain at the people who are able to do that crazy, amazing stuff. So, but I don't know. I like to think in my heart that this film will give people a different view on what magicians are and make it less of a kind of, a magician.
Yeah.
That's, even if I like the idea that it would change.
No,
that
but that's why we all, probably make, but definitely watch docs, right? Because it's one of those opportunities to get a glimpse into a world you're not a part of.
It's a window, yeah.
It's a window, and I think that's incredibly rewarding if you see something that you always think, I'm not that interested, and then you see it and you're like, wow, that is actually kind of fascinating.
Because you actually have a lot of cool access in terms of how you follow the four magicians. You want to just give us a quick breakdown of the magicians and who they were?
Sure. So the magicians are John Armstrong. How much do you want me to say about them?
Yeah, just give a couple of lines. Just kind of paint a picture.
Okay, great. So John Armstrong is. I always want to talk about their personalities, but I'll just talk about their magic. So John Armstrong is an extraordinary close-up magician. Who is just an overt geek, and he has this part in the film that I love where he kind of says, now that being geeky is cool, I'm going to put that out there and just be, hey, I'm a geek and I'm cool and you're supposed to like me. We have David Minkin, who is sort of the more, I would say he's the most kind of average seeming guy. I think that's fair to say. He's just sort of like, a guy who decided to do magic, but he has a really beautiful take on magic and its power and what it can do. And I think seeing him working in the world and coming up against, all the things you have to deal with as a magician is really interesting.
He had that.
Don't bury the lead. He was Johnny Carson's favorite magician. We actually have
Brian
that
Gillis?
Brian Gillis, right? Did you not say Brian Gillis?
I was talking about Lincoln, but Brian Gillis was Johnny Carson's favorite magician, and he, I think, in the film really represents, somebody who has had this prolific career, but is now in an industry where ultimately youth is important, and he's trying to figure out what to do with that. And then we have a stage illusionist, Jan Ruven, and his manager Frank, who's sort of the star of that duo, who have like a stage illusion show in Vegas. So it's quite a contrast, I think, to the other guys. Yeah, the bed of death.
Yeah,
indeed. So those are the guys, and it's funny. I sometimes don't really know how we ended up with those folks, but it's I know a lot of people in the magic world, and I can imagine a really different documentary based around all kinds of different people. But this is definitely a representation of these kind of four worlds and
four stages, right, of where they're at Like you
Yes.
mentioned, one was performing on Johnny Carson, so obviously he's been in the game for a while.
Yep.
There was that nice clip you had too, where he did a magic trick with Fred Savage from Wonder Years.
Love some archive.
Yes.
Archive's always
That's
really
a good cut, isn't it?
It is a
Because
good
it's like
cut. Yeah, it was a great trick too. But I was just like, yo, Fred Savage.
Hey, Fred,
know.
as a kid. I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
So-
and
and he
Jay
did that-
Leno. Jay Leno was on there, too.
I know, but Fred had that nice little suit on too.
He was working it on
Yeah.
his late night talk show appearances in the
Yeah.
Wonder Years days. I know.
His mom cleaned them up good.
Yeah, they did a good job. I know. Yeah, so those are the guys, and you know, there are a million other directions we could have gone in, but you know, there were things happening in their lives at the time when we started filming them, and you know, that made it sort of compelling and made them the sort of obvious choices to film.
Were there other people that you had considered to shoot, or other magicians that you had considered and then just didn't make the cut, or?
Yeah, we did at the beginning. I mean, we talked to a lot of people and thought about a lot of people, and we did a sort of initial filming day with a few people, and then it's funny, it almost sort of whittles itself down for you, I think, when you have, you know, when you have a lot of experience filming people, you just sort of see what is going to take you farther and what's going to take you into a story that's compelling, because it, you know, it couldn't just be about them being able to do good magic. There had to be something that was compelling about their personalities, but also that looked towards something maybe happening in the future. So
Momentum.
Yeah, some ambition that would lead you to narrative beats for the film, really, you know, because a film without any story, even a documentary, is kind of lame, and we want to, you know, always have some story playing out.
You asked me about if I had seen any magic recently. What was this kind of spark initially for you guys? Like, did you see magic as a kid, or?
Sorry, poor Christoph.
No, it's fine. I have an answer to that too. But you
Okay,
go
good.
first.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm throwing them out to both of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You both can take it. Like,
I mean, for me, magic, I always describe it this way, and some people in the magic world hate this, but it really was like a disease to me. Like, magic just happened. Like, I saw a mind reading routine, and it was like a switch flipped, and from there on out, I was just obsessed. This was like 10 years ago.
I saw
And-
Kreskin live. Amazing Kreskin.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love this. Good job, Sammy.
I did, yeah. But it was
impressed.
disappointing though, because I met him afterwards. There was like a lineup, and you can meet
Oh,
him
never
out.
do it. Never do it. In all of life, never
But
do
that's
that.
true for everything, right? That's
Yeah,
true for
that's-
musicians
but
and actors. And
I know, but it was just like, and I had to introduce myself. I said, my name is Sammy. And he didn't say, I know. Like, he didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're disappointed that he didn't have like an all-knowing
Yeah.
kind of
I'm
ability.
like, come on, man. Work with me here.
Well, you
Yeah.
were fooled by magic.
I was
It's
fooled by
a beautiful
magic.
thing.
So you started early, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was late in terms of magic, because a lot of people that are in magic come to it, you know, as a kid. So I was definitely late to the game, but I think that gives you an advantage because you have, you know, your kind of adult brain before you came to magic and your kind of knowledge of what it looked like. And then if you get into magic, then you can really, you know, study up and kind of learn the ins and outs, but still remember what it was like to see it before all of that. So I think
You're not jaded, basically.
well, I'm definitely jaded, but
Yeah.
that being said, I can tap into my kind of pre-magic brain and
Yeah.
see it, I think, a little bit more easily because I was, you know, like 27 or whatever when I got into it.
And what about you? What was your...
Well, I mean, for me, actually, it was magic as well. So Marcie and I directed a film together previously, and then at one point she told me about this one because she was a member at the Magic Castle and she really knew everybody. And she said, I really want to do a film about magic. And I was, you know, we had like, best way to describe it is like a little bit like Mulder and Scully, but I was Scully.
Yes.
So I was like,
Yeah.
that's not going to work. It doesn't translate on camera. It's like nobody cares. I mean, I had
Yeah.
that basically in prejudice. Like nobody
Yeah.
cares about magicians. And then Marcie said, just look, come over. I'll get you into the Magic Castle and just meet some people. And then the same thing for me, seeing something live, something like 3 feet away from you,
Yeah.
a foot away from you, and then it was incredibly compelling. And then the characters were so rich that I thought, absolutely, like right away after the first test interview we did, we're like, we have something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I just think it's funny when we try and finish our sentences with "yep."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, then, so that was how you kind of came into magic. And then when did the kind of the rough idea started to form to actually commit to a documentary? Because you shot this or worked on this for 4 years.
We did. Thank you
So-
for noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate
so
that.
That's a huge commit. Not a huge, but it's a commitment.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
I
a
know.
huge commitment.
Yeah.
That is an understatement. That's a huge
Yeah.
commitment. I mean, it's something that honestly, if we weren't completely hell bent on finishing, it would just never happen. Like I assume from my experience alone that 99% of documentaries just never get finished because you have to just completely be just dead set on finishing it. But to answer your question, I wanted to wait a long time because I think with magic, you get a deeper and deeper understanding constantly. If you're studying magic and interested in it, your understanding of it just constantly changes and modifies. And I thought, I'll make a documentary about magic in 20 years, and then I'll have this kind of amazing depth of knowledge. And then somebody at the Magic Castle just said, you just need to do it now. Don't be ridiculous. Don't try and put all this weight on the future and what it would be like. Just do it now. And I mean, I'm really glad that we did. It's strange for me to think about. I mean, I could genuinely be happy living my life making magic-related documentaries, but I think I'll try not to do that. But it just was like, well, if we have the idea, why? I mean, it really just goes back to the fact that why put something off, even if you think it's going to be the perfect time in the future, or the perfect knowledge or understanding, and we just decided to start.
Did your definition or your concept of magic change as you did this and you started to hang out with magicians?
Well, I was already into magic and hanging out with magicians, so Christoph should probably answer that.
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, for me, actually, that goes back to the previous one. This is good radio right now. But I think Marcie came from here, and I came from here, right?
Yeah.
So where you really wanted, you were thinking really hard about this from a meta perspective, right?
Yes.
Like exactly how much you'd bring to the table. For me, initially, what was really, really interesting was that journey aspect. And so for us, we started filming kind of right away. It's not like we were like treading water and like talking to people for 2 years and then shot for like a year and a half. But we just started filming like exactly 4 years ago, and we're filmed until like last summer.
Mm-hmm.
So and I mean, it did certainly change because I think I was like everybody else. I had that preconceived notion. It's like, it's birthday parties and it's kind of lame. And like, if you look really closely, you're going to see exactly how it works.
There's a quarter behind your ear.
Exactly. But it is actually quite amazing. And it's one of the things we purposefully talked about initially, that I did not want to know I didn't want to know the inner workings. Like, we had that clear understanding that I'm not going to ask any questions just because I wanted that level of amazement. And that's also ultimately, as a filmmaker, then if it works for us, it's like it belongs in the film. But if it doesn't work, then it shouldn't be in. So I think that was actually really good. But going back to Mulder and Scully, it was a really interesting working technique where it's like, I wanted to be kept in the dark purposefully.
Yeah. It's interesting because Houdini and Doyle in real life, they hung out, and Doyle really believed that Houdini had like occult powers or some sort of superpowers. And Houdini was like, no, man, it's just like I put the quarter in my sleeve or like whatever.
Crazy
right?
guy.
And it was just like, and Doyle couldn't get it. And it reminds me of that interplay.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I think so. But also with magic, sorry, when I get talking about magic, I get real excited and I have a lot to say.
Go for it.
But I think there's that spectrum of how people respond to magic, too. And you see that even with the film. We have magic in the film that I think is really compelling. I mean, magic is never as good, on TV as it is when it's in front of you and something genuinely impossible is happening in your own hands. But, I think there's that real dynamic of kind of how people respond and how people want to know things, don't want to know things. All of that, to me, is kind of fascinating and just tells you a lot about a person.
You had a lot. I liked a lot of the expressions of people because you kept a lot of them in there where like their jaws would drop or like, how'd you do that? And like girls were just like their eyes would get all big and like dudes like try to be all cool about it.
I'm glad you noticed that.
Right?
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And then it's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. When he's on a date and like trying to be cool, like, yeah, girl, I got this. I'll tell you how it's done.
Yeah. So
what they
it's
do.
just like, yeah, it's just a plastic hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what guys do on a date. You always hear them explaining to their date. The girl goes, "Do you know how it's done?" And then the guy's like, "Yeah, I know how it's done." It's insane. It's like this insane like cognitive confidence that is always incorrect.
And good magicians will play with that once they pick up on that.
Oh,
they do most of them. Yeah.
I think that feeds back into like what I was saying before when I said I'm watching a documentary on magician. People are like, oh, there is an element of con man in there, right? Because it's just like you got made fool of. Like most people, they feel pretty confident. They're street smart. They can get by at work. They can put on pants successfully, right?
Well, I mean, kind of.
Nobody likes pants, but it is what it is. But and then this magician comes and is like, "Is this your card?" And it's like, "Damn." right? I got
It
caught.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, that's something that in the film I would have loved to have dived into even more deeply. And I think we touch on it a little bit, but I think you're right. There's an element of whatever personalities come to magic, they have to be able to walk that line of that kind of con man aspect, because you have to essentially be on the surface telling a lie, right? There's got to be this kind of like surface moment with someone where you're taking them down a path that isn't right in order to fool them and to give them that experience. And so I think you have to have this aspect to your personality that, you're able to do that in whatever way. And that is a strange kind of self-selecting aspect of it. And I think there could be a whole film just about that, really.
Yeah. But you also had the theme in the documentary about women magicians. You asked that one assistant, or I guess she is a full magician.
She is a magician, yeah. She's, classic. And she works with Brian Gillis as well, but yeah, she does her own stuff too.
What she said was kind of interesting. She was saying how like men don't like to be fooled by women was basically kind of how she summed it all up. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I actually haven't really seen a woman do any magic. So I'm like, I don't know. To me, magic is magic. Like, I don't care what your gender is. Just find my card and the deck of cards, and I go home happy.
Hopefully more than that. Hopefully more than
If you can do stuff like with swords and flames and stuff, yo, I'm in.
Swords. Well, look, mate, you know the guy, so.
I talk about this, or I've gone through phases of talking about this a lot in my life, and I'm currently in a phase where I don't think about it a lot because I just sort of accept it as part of, many of the other parts of our life where women aren't hugely accepted in comedy and whatever else. I think I like all of the theories. I've never heard a theory about women and magic that I fully disagreed with. I think there are a lot of thoughts about, I like that answer of, they don't like to be fooled by women because it's powerful to be able to do good magic. It's incredibly powerful. And in a way, I think women already have this kind of power over men at times in a sense. And I think having that in a different way is scary and unlikable for men sometimes. I don't think that's enough to kind of describe the entire reason why there are almost no female magicians, but I think that's one aspect to it that I find pretty amazing.
Yeah, because when it's a man doing it, it's magic, but when a woman does it, it's a witch.
Yeah, it's trickery and deceit. Exactly.
And then, so for you, Christoph, what was it like to kind of travel and hang out with magicians, magicians as you kind of got deeper into this world? What was that like for you?
Look, they're like people like us. I think that's really fascinating. And that's one of the most gratifying things being a documentary filmmaker, that we had the time, despite working all these other jobs, to make this film happen, that we were really able to, hang out with them. And, with John traveling all the way to Wisconsin and one of the biggest compliments I heard from magicians who have seen the film is they're saying this is kind of the first film that really kind of captures the experience of being a magician.
Yeah.
Because they are keenly aware of how society sees them, right? And like the trappings it comes with and the consequences. And I think that's actually kind of fascinating, because that's one of the things we always were worried about. It's like, is it when magicians see that, are they going to be like, "Ooh, this is a little rough in parts," right? But they do embrace that because that's their life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was actually a very human, because again, with like when I saw Darcy Oak, he just comes out, he does 2 hours of magic, and then he goes home, or he goes to the next stop on the tour, and I just go home, and I'm like, I try and figure out how he did that, and I know it's a plastic hand.
Good answer. Always a solid answer.
Always a solid answer.
Wait, that's
that's my go-to. It's a plastic can. And then but this actually was really neat because you did take them. You know what I mean? You see one of the magicians with his parents, and he's like, "I'm gonna be on TV," and like you see lots of cool little things behind the scenes. That's the whole thing with magic. Is like what's happening behind the scenes, because you know that it's always misdirection, right? There's always things that are happening in front of you. And that's what they want you to focus on. But you guys actually got access and were able to go behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think, exactly. And I think there's again, as there's in magic, there's probably infinite depth to figuring out what it is to be a magician. And I think this is one aspect of it, or one take on it. But that was, I'd been studying magic and very rarely performing magic for quite some time, and had a lot of friends in magic. So I think access-wise, that's exactly right. I think, they knew that I was obsessed with magic and really wanted to kind of do right by magic, I guess. And so I think that access-wise, I think there was still trepidation, because I think performers in general don't want to give it all away.
Filming
but there
with
was trust,
performers is really hard and then you put on top that's their livelihood, right?
Right.
Secrets are their livelihood. So I think I would say as an outsider, there was at least a solid year to year and a half we put in just to really that they knew and we knew that we trust each other. I think that took quite a bit of time. Some of the characters at least.
It's like when you go undercover, right? You need that one guy
Yeah.
who vouches for you for the mafia. He's cool. He's not wearing a wire, right?
It is that. It is
And
that.
you're just like, what kind of plastic hand did you use? You know what I mean? You're writing down notes and you're like trying to like.
That was good, actually. That's a good kind of example in Magic. If we were going to go with the plastic hand example of
Yeah.
like, what did you use? What sort of device is this? Whose is this?
Right, but from the non-magic side of things, I think one thing that's always very important to me, and I know about for you as well, is the fact that it is a journey. That like films, what we both like are human experience films, like Grey Gardens, right? They're that it's not just like talking heads and like you're talking about a very specific topic, but it's you're gonna be spending time with those people. We spend almost 4 years with them.
Yeah.
And kind of in a weird way, it sounds kind of cliche, but it's like that tenacity of the human spirit really kind of comes through. And whether you're a magician or a musician or whatever, painter, it doesn't matter. Like you all go through that stuff,
Does it ruin? I mean, you've done the documentary, so I guess this is a kind of a silly question to ask. But does it kind of ruin the illusion a little bit of getting to know the magician and who he is and how he operates and how he kind of thinks and seeing with his parents and? Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. I don't think so at all. I think it adds depth to it because I think ultimately as humans, we don't do particularly well at understanding each other a lot of the time. I think we understand people that are already in our peer group maybe. But I think seeing outside of that is just innately hard for us, and so I think giving people access, I think having seen behind the scenes now, hopefully they would have more kind of empathy and interest in a magician, so if they walk into a restaurant rather than going, oh God, there's a magician coming to our table, they would be like, oh my God, there's a magician. I wonder what he's trying to do and what he's been going through. I wonder what kind of routines he has. That is, I hope, what that view would give people.
And
I'm
Christoph
going to
is-
even say much stronger, absolutely more respect. Because, I mean, for me, magicians were always that person, that kind of glass box, like right over there. And I never had any contact with them. So
Right.
for me, actually, being able to spend time with them and really seeing what goes into it, it's way more respect than I had before.
All right.
So, yeah, actually, absolutely.
All right. You're smiling and you're happy considering your journey too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, for sure. And that was actually one of the big questions I asked myself is like, is that something, because we knew this is going to be at least 4 years of commitment. Is that something we want to put in?
Yeah.
And she was sold on Magic. And I was like, man, that's some time right there.
Yeah. The documentary has its world premiere Saturday, April 30th, right? It's world premiere.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow at Hot Docs. And it's already at rush tickets, so that means it's probably going to be sold out. So that's amazing. Give me a high five for
Woo! Thanks, Sammy.
selling out the documentary. That's amazing. And there's
It's a big theater too. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
attractive.
yeah.
It's a big old one. It's
it's
good.
nice too. You got to tuck in your shirt a little bit. It's a little slightly
I'll tuck it in.
classy.
I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a classy lady.
Thank
and then
you.
I gave it to you. And then there's 2 more screenings at Hot Docs, Monday, May 2nd and Sunday, May 8th. All the information's at hotdocs.ca. But after Hot Docs, are you hoping, I guess, to kind of sell it, or what's going to happen with the documentary?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we want to, there's always the route of self-distribution, but of course we want to have as big of a, net as we can cast on the world. So yeah, we want a good distribution pathway and one that is short and gets it out, as quickly as possible. But, we're in it for the long haul, so we'll do what we got to do to get it out there.
And it's going to be out there. I mean, it's really interesting when I tell people, like, what are we doing? And I say magicians, by the way, not magic.
Yeah.
But everybody is at least very intrigued.
Yeah.
So I do think it is going to be very kind of a big populist film. Like people are just going to be drawn to it. So I think our big goal is that it's simply out there, whether that's Netflix or Amazon or iTunes, and we're trying to hit all that just to make sure that a lot of people can see it.
The opening scene is amazing.
Nice.
So I'm not going to describe it or anything.
Good tease.
Yeah. But I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah. Boom. Yeah, this is like, I had my nostrils and chips. I was like chilling. So I was like, yes.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I like it.
Thank you guys for coming in, visiting my Summer Lair. This has been...
Marcie Hume.
And this has been...
Christoph Baaden.
And the documentary is called Magicians, The Life in the Impossible. And it's playing at Hot Docs. And then hopefully it'll be cinemas near you.
Exactly. Out in the world.
Thank you guys for coming in, hanging out, talking about magic, and
Thanks, Sammy. You're cool.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
nice. That's,
Yeah.
we may should do like a group hug afterwards.
We'll
like,
do that.
all right.
Absolutely.
Take a group picture.
Yes.
Oh, your poster too, which is really good radio, by the way. But like,
Oh yeah, movie poster.
Yeah.
I'll have to have you guys like sign it or like make it disappear or something.
Or both.
Yeah.
Sign it and then disappear.
Sign it and disappear. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sammy.
thank you.